All right, so we've got the verse of the day. This is Romans 12, 1 and 2. Therefore, I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you'll be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. So I love thinking through God's good, pleasing, and perfect will. I love that this verse ends with encouraging us that when we go through the beginning part of this verse, there is a purpose. There is a point. And the reason the beginning of this verse means a lot to me is I often think about my living sacrifice. When I hear about sacrificing, I think about what it is I naturally shy away from. And that is, oftentimes it reminds me of sitting and listening to my wife talk a lot about things that I don't have a whole lot invested in. I don't have a lot of interest in, to be quite honest. There's a friend of ours who, she's having a baby, and they just adopted. They were going through this adoption process, and then they found out they were pregnant. So it's this huge deal to my wife. She's all emotionally supporting our friend, and I like them. They're great people, and I just don't have a ton to offer. There's not a whole lot of emotional support. But my wife talks to me about it, and she's like, "Isn't that crazy? Oh man, aren't they going through this?" And she's longing. Really, she's longing for me to emotionally connect with her. She's longing for me to emotionally be with her, to care with her about this. And guys, it is a huge sacrifice, and I truly don't do this well. I don't do this often. How many times do we say to ourselves, well, that's just not me. That's not my role. That's not who I am. I don't do that. I don't do it well. Are we being a living sacrifice? Are we choosing to sacrifice ourselves? When's the last time you chose to sacrifice yourself to serve someone else? The good news is you will be able to test and approve what God's will is. If you want to know what God's will is, sacrifice yourself.